From the creators of Rocko's, we have Sandreal, like Rocko's, but smaller, and it's sand. Buy it today! Oh, he didn't see it there. You know, I think I preferred when they just made Rocko's. You spend most of your life working on a piece of art, telling a specific story, but most stories end, unless you're One Piece, so what happens after that work is finished? Well, you start on something else, of course! You're telling me I have to make another one of these? Not every single manga artist goes and makes multiple other works. There are a few of them that just primarily focused on one, but there's just something interesting being familiar with a work, thinking you know a creator well, just for them to have a whole other bag of tricks that they can do that just didn't fit in their initial premise. I want to compare one artist's work to another one of their works, because hearing that an author that made a work that you adore is going to make another one, it's a special kind of excitement. Hey, did you hear the person who made a burger? Gonna make another one. Like the creator of Fullmetal Alchemist, she released a sketch for their upcoming project and I literally know nothing about it, but regardless of any tropes or anything like that, I know she's more than capable of writing a quality story and I am excited. The first chapter came out with pretty good reception as well, so I'm hyped to see where it goes, but what about stuff that's already come out? Stuff's already come out? The first example that comes to mind is from the creator of Death Note. This is actually the first time I was excited for a property based solely on the creator because I had utter trust in their ability to entertain me, regardless of plot, and well, Platinum End? It exists. There was a fair amount of what I know the creator for, the highly detailed thought out plans that you see being revealed as it happens, but I don't know. It doesn't have the same magic that Death Note had. It does involve a character rivalship position trying to become God, but less an egotistical sense and more of it's literally a death battle game of people who are competing to become God. You know, I think I heard of this before. I like it fine enough, it's just really damn edgy, but enjoyable nonetheless. It's just not quite what I expected from the creative mind behind Death Note, but that isn't the only series the person's made. In between Death Note and Platinum End, there's another story, and there's an arrogant genius who finds a way to become God, depressed kid who just wants to find happiness in a death game. What could take place in between these two? If you guess slice of life about a manga creator, you are either psychic or have access to Wikipedia. Bakuman is a very liked series about two people teaming up to create a manga. It's interesting because since this is in fact a manga about writing manga, there's a fair amount of truth of the industry within this story. Like, it gives a bit of insight. Of course, if you want to pick up creating your own manga, you won't have the same exact experience, but it's a very interesting perspective nonetheless. And, well, it wouldn't get a 75 episode anime adaptation across 3 seasons, as well as a live action adaptation if that's all it had going for itself. This kind of shows that a creator or a team of creators can have such a variety of skills and ideas that if you don't pick up on the art style, you may not know that 3 or so properties are made by the same people. Then there's Hiro Mashima. While a lot of authors like to experiment with things well outside of what they have established, Hiro Mashima is the equivalent of a chef that cooks one food but in different flavors, almost tweaking a few things in between new outings, and well, the fact that all 3 of his manga have adaptations is a testament to how well that works out for him. He is probably one of the few authors you can tell at a glance who made the manga. Which, I mean, it's not inherently a bad thing. The guy just knows what he likes to do and knows what he's willing to subtract and add to his works to make them feel different to him at the very least. Take Rave Master, remove some serious, you got Fairy Tail. Add a bit of serious and some space, you got Eden Zero. That's not to say all Mashima's works are nearly exactly the same, but the guy has a style of storytelling and a well-preferred genre, so who am I to complain? Someone who doesn't know what the hell the snowman thing is. Probably easily one of the most successful in terms of popularity when it comes to multiple outings is Yoshihiro Togashi. Not only did he make Yu Yu Hakusho, he also made Hunter x Hunter, and I'm pretty sure the majority of us have at least heard of those 2 shows. But the name Hunter x Hunter with an X between it makes it seem more like a southern romance story than it does like an actual manga. Yu Yu Hakusho is very influential and one of the earliest popular examples of fighting things that exist in a world that we wouldn't quite see, and it stands out well for being a classic among anime. And there's Hunter x Hunter, which is often regarded as one of the best shonen ever, standing out when it came out first for looking like a lighthearted shonen, then getting pretty brutal. Of course, each manga has a lot more than just that going on, but those 2 were back-to-back incredible outings. Yu Yu Hakusho is also renowned for one of the top animes I have a really hard time spelling. The Western feeling classic Trigun also shares the creator of Blood Blockade Battlefront, that being Yasuhiro Naito. And honestly, that's such an interesting testament to such different strong world building. Oh, and the artist behind Dr. Stone, the one who draws the manga for the writer, actually used to do the art for Shonen magazines and anything that's published is really cutthroat, so for every successful manga you see, the creator behind it has their own fair share of stumbles. It could even take as long as being in circulation before it falls. Black Clover's creator prior to his work on that had a series called Hungry Joker.
Are you gonna feed him?
It only got 2 volumes in before being cancelled, but it's very, very different from what we would see in Black Clover. It's much more mysterious and sci-fi, so it's fascinating to see not only where concepts range with authors, but what they're willing to try in order to succeed. But there are similar stories for a bunch of different artists, and just because you get one successful story published doesn't make you set. Sometimes another outing can fail no matter how great the first one was received. The creator of Naruto, Kishimoto, had a new manga series called Samurai 8, and it did have a somewhat healthy run for a year, but it was too lore heavy and underdeveloped. At least according to the people who reviewed it, but it's just so interesting where creators can go and what their minds can do, and even comparing what an evolving work looks like to a work prior, like Dragon Ball and Dr. Slump.
I don't know if I trust PhD of someone named Dr. Slump, but if Dr. Pepper says it's cool, then it's fine.
It's just so interesting. Manga artists aren't the only ones who create multiple times. There's Ryogo Narita, the creator of Durarara, who had quite a few light novels under his belt. While there are quite a large amount of recognizable names, like him working on a Fate light novel and Bleach novels, probably the most recognizable next to his name, right beside Durarara, is Baccano. It was the start of a specialty that carries the story across multiple characters in a very unique setting, something that both his most notable works have in common. It's great because it gives the feeling that there isn't exactly a main character, but the world is the main character, and there are just pieces to a greater narrative that not even all the characters are aware that they're a part in.
That's just so cool. Man, I wish there were cities in real life.
There's also the creator of Sword Art Online, Rakikara Hara, that made both Sword Art Online and Accel World. Technically, they both exist in the same universe with theories floating around in a crossover game, but they are separate enough, so I count it. They have separate fan bases and all that good noise, and if that worked, then comparing Burn the Witch and Bleach works fine. Love works with Tite Kubo, but at some point it's revealed that they take place in the same universe, kinda just like in different places. Which is not uncommon for manga artists to do, and authors, but combining continuities, and I mean, hey, they make a world feel more fleshed out, so I'm not complaining.
It's really interesting the variety of concepts and things an artist can have, especially when you follow them from one project to another. They can have an entire bag of tricks that you didn't even like them for initially, but they give you a whole lot more reasons to enjoy them. On the other hand though, from the creators of Rockos and Sanrio, they made a bowl of dirt, and I don't know, I think the magic's gone. It just tastes like a bowl of dirt. Now, Cup of Dirt on the other hand.